This portrait of the Brown Lady ghost is arguably the most famous and well-regarded ghost photograph ever taken. The ghost is thought to be of that lady, Dorothy Townshend, wife of Charles Townshend, 2nd Viscount of Rainham, residents of Rainham Hall in Norfolk, England, in the early 1700s. It was rumored that Dorothy, before her marriage to Charles, had been the mistress of Lord Wharton. Charles suspected Dorothy of infidelity, although according to legal records, she died and was buried in 1726. It was suspected that the funeral was a scam and that Charles had locked his wife away in a remote corner of the house until her death many years later. Dorothy's ghost is said to haunt the oak staircase and other areas of Rainham Hall. In the early 1800s, King George IV, while staying at Rainham, saw the figure of a woman in a brown dress standing beside his bed. She was seen again standing in the hall in 1835 by Colonel Loftus, who was visiting for Christmas holidays. He saw her again a week later and described her as wearing a brown satin dress, her skin glowing with a pale luminescence. It also seemed to him that her eyes had been gouged out. A few years later, Captain Frederick Marryat and 2 friends saw the Brown Lady ghost gliding along an upstairs hallway, carrying a lantern. As she passed, Marryat said, she grinned at the men in a diabolical manner. Marryat fired a pistol at the apparition, but the bullet just simply passed through. This photo was taken in September 1936 by Captain Provand and Indre Shira, two photographers who were assigned to photograph Rainham Hall for Country Life magazine. This is what happened according to Shira. Captain Provand took one photograph while I flashed the light. He was focusing for another exposure. I was standing by his side just behind the camera with a flashlight pistol in my hand, looking directly up the staircase. All at once, I detected an ethereal, veiled form coming slowly down the stairs, rather excitedly. I called out sharply, "Quick, quick, there's something!" I pressed the trigger of the flashlight pistol. After the flash and on closing the shutter, Captain Provand removed the focusing cloth from his head and turned to me and said, What's all the excitement about?" Upon developing the film, the image of the Brown Lady ghost was seen for the first time. It was published in the December 16, 1936 issue of Country Life. The ghost has been seen occasionally since. This intriguing photo, taken in 1919, was first published in 1975 by Sir Victor Goddard, a retired RAF officer. The photo is a group portrait of Goddard's squadron, which had served in World War I at the HMS Daedalus training facility. An extra ghostly face appears in the photo, in back of the airman's positioned on top row. Fourth from the left can clearly be seen the face of another man. It is said to be the face of Freddie Jackson, an air mechanic who had been accidentally killed by an airplane propeller 2 days earlier. His funeral had been taking place on the day of this photograph. Members of the squadron easily recognized the face of Jackson. It has been suggested that Jackson, unaware of his death, decided to show up for the group photo. This photograph of the Cumberland Abbey Library was taken in 1891 by Sybil Corbet. The figure of a man can faintly be seen sitting in the chair to the left. His head, collar, and right arm on an armrest can clearly be seen. It is believed to be the ghost of Lord Cumberland. Lord Cumberland was a British cavalry commander in the early 1800s who distinguished himself in several military campaigns. Cumberland Abbey, located in Cheshire, England, was founded by Benedictine monks in 1133. In 1540, King Henry VII was kicked out of the Benedictines, and the abbey later became the seat of Sir George Cotton, Vice-Chamberlain to the household of Prince Edward, son of Henry VIII. In 1814, Sir Stapleton Cotton, a descendant of Sir George, took the title Lord Cumberland, and in 1817 became the governor of Barbados. Today, the abbey is a tourist attraction and hotel. Lord Cumberland died in 1891, having been struck and killed by a horse-drawn carriage. At the time Sybil Corbet took the photo, Cumberland's funeral was taking place some 4 miles away. The photographic exposure Corbet recorded took about an hour. It is thought by some that during the time of the servant might have come down in the room and sat briefly in the chair, creating the transparent image. This idea was refuted by members of the household, however, testifying that all were attending Lord Cumberland's funeral. This photo was taken during an investigation of Bachelors Grove Cemetery near Chicago by the Ghost Research Society, GRS. On August 10, 1991, several members of the GRS were at a cemetery with a small abandoned graveyard on the edge of Rubio Woods Forest Preserve, near the suburb of Midlothian, Illinois. Reputed to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in the USA, Bachelors Grove has been the site of well over 100 different reports of strange phenomena, including apparitions, unexplained sights and sounds, and even glowing balls of light. GRS member Mary Huff was taking black and white photographs with a high-speed infrared camera in an area where the group had experienced some anomalies with their own ghost hunting equipment. The cemetery was empty except for the GRS members. When developed, this image emerged. What looks like a lonely-looking young woman dressed in white sitting on a tombstone. Parts of her body partially transparent, and the style of the dress seems to be out of date. Other ghosts were reportedly seen in Bachelors Grove, including figures in monks' clothes and the spirits of glowing men.